Welcome back to The Profit Boss. I am going to focus today on how an accountant supports you through the business journey. I think if you're a business owner or you've ever said to someone that you're going to start a business, that you've probably been told by someone else that you need to go see your accountant or find an accountant or see an accountant. And I think it's really easy for that person to give that advice and not really provide much context on the who, what, why, when, how of actually implementing that. When you're starting a business, you're already thinking about so many different things: a business name, a setup, a location, a website, all the things. The list goes on. Your ideal customer, your products. So it sort of just gets added to the list. And I wanted to talk through that journey so that there is a bit more of a tangible understanding of why it's important. To start with, I'd like to highlight when the ATO might consider you to be in business, because I think that's a really important distinction as compared to, say, a hobby. And they actually provide characteristics of what it would mean to be a business owner. And it really comes back to the way you earn your income. And if you're earning this outside of being an employee, it can fall into business territory, especially if you have a profit motive intent and you also have commercial-like activities in terms of, setting up a website and an email and putting your name and brand out there and marketing, then it's going to be really hard to argue that you're not a business. So I would say it's at this point in time when it's important to talk to an accountant so that you can understand what your requirements alongside your finances might look like. And the reason you would want to get this advice is because every single person is going to be slightly unique. Two hairdressing businesses will receive different advice because their two situations will be unique to them. For example, one might have the goal of buying a house, whereas the other might already have bought one. An accountant's also going to make sure that you are on the right track and reporting correctly right from the start. And this is something that if you haven't had a business before, you won't know. You don't know what you don't know. And honestly, my clients hear me say that all the time. It's probably one of my most frequent sentences. And it's just about going to that person and that trusted advisor to ask all the questions, because nothing's too silly and nothing's too small. At the beginning of your business journey, an accountant will help with all your record keeping requirements. I'd say that that's probably an initial priority, and this will look like having a separate business bank account and some sort of system to keep track of your business income and your business expenses. Ideally, we really do need these separate from your personal food, fuel, fun, because otherwise it can get quite messy and become the most painful part of your business to go and categorize all your income and expenses separate from those personal in nature. Obviously, at the beginning too, an accountant will help educate and empower you around your tax obligations with the ATO. And it's really their role to make sure that you're ticking all the right boxes and you're staying in the green when it comes to what the ATO will require of you. At the start of the business journey, there's probably two main things I'd say are important in terms of the ATO. And that would be one, saving for tax. And it is really the accountant's role to ask you questions to understand what your income taxes would look like on an estimate basis. It's never going to be exact, but based on what you're estimating to happen in your business, there should be some science behind that of what you then should put aside for income tax, because there's nothing we can do about taking that away completely. Obviously, there's ways we can defer it or reduce it or minimize it. But at the end of the day, if you're making profits, we're going to be paying income tax as a person that lives in Australia. And so we want to make sure, one, that you're asking the question and getting that advice unique to you about what you've got to put aside. And probably number two, and it feeds into also having that really good record keeping strategy in place, is that as your turnover grows, so that's your business income coming in, when that's projected to or actually going to be more than $75,000 in any rolling 12-month period, we need to consider something called GST registration. And keeping on top of this is really important because it's at that point in time that you then want to be charging that onto your clients so you're not out of pocket. In Australia, GST is 10%. So if you haven't correctly looked after this obligation, you're going to be out of pocket 10% of all your sales at the point in time that you register. An accountant can also provide services on top of this advice, and that would look like obviously doing your tax return for you, but also BASs, which is what you've got to do once you are registered for GST. In terms of the record keeping side as well, you might have your accountant do your bookkeeping, or you might have a bookkeeper do your bookkeeping, so that it takes that away from you having to do that admin side of your business. In general, I'd say from that initial starting point of your business, an accountant will then also help you with the next phase in terms of picking the right business structure. In Australia, you can run your business in one of 4 different business structures. The most common and what people start with normally is a sole trader. And then I'd say the next common is a company. Now, the difference between a sole trader and company is that as a sole trader, you are the business. You're not separated from it. And so your business is under your name. Whereas a company is considered a whole separate legal entity, and it provides something we call asset protection, because it will be liable for any damages or business losses, whereas if it's you trading the business as a sole trader, you're responsible for this. So I'd say that those 2 are the most common, but we also have the option of trading in Australia under a trust or a partnership. And whilst these words are probably all a bit foreign when you're starting your business journey, an accountant really should be asking you the questions about your business projections, your goals, and your family to understand that you're definitely in the right business structure, because it's going to be unique to each individual person. 2 reasons you probably want to change your business structure and just double check that you're in the right one is either tax minimization, which obviously we all love if that's available to us, and 2 is also asset protection. So we want to protect all our hard work, our investments, our savings, and our super. And that's why we sometimes will also build out a business structure plan for clients. Along the business journey, your accountant is also there to support your spending and business decisions. I think having someone in your corner that has seen your finances, understands your business, and knows what your goals are can really help support you from an advisory perspective. Let's say you're looking to employ someone and it's your first person that you're going to be paying. You're committing to paying them on an hourly basis, maybe super's on top of that. We really do sometimes put off a decision like that because we don't know if we have the finances to be able to successfully commit to that. And having an accountant to call and ask that question so that you can make an informed business decision, I think is so important. And that really is what our role can also be on top of your standard tax and ATO and BAS obligations. Personally, one of my favourite projects to work on with clients is making a plan. So we make a budget, we make a cash flow forecast so that we can build out what we're going to do over, say, a 3 to 6 to 12 month period, setting goals, and that really helps the client to pull back to what it is as a sales target they need to do per month, per week. We break it down, maybe it's per customer, so that they know they're on track to achieve the goals that they've set for themselves. Now, if we're talking timelines, maybe we're 3 to 5 years down the track of owning a business, an accountant really is there to help with wealth creation and asset protection. Now you're building up your kitty and you know that the business is sustainable. Those profits are there for you to make informed investment decisions with. And that's where having not only an accountant, but also maybe a board of advisors, which an accountant can facilitate. So we're talking a financial planner, a lawyer, maybe you need to create a will. Like, I know we're all young, but that's probably something that is important. We need to maybe have a broker so that we've got the right finance in place. Whether that also looks like a marketing agency to boost those profits with a detailed plan of attack of how we're going to do that. We look to be the person you come to and build that relationship so that you can build the wealth or build the life that you're wanting to build. And of course, a accountant obviously helps with any more detail orientated tax situations. In Australia, we have something called capital gains tax, which if you were to invest in crypto or shares or maybe property and then earn income from those investments and then sell them, you would be subject to capital gains tax upon that sale. So obviously that's a more detailed need for tax, and we can give advice around how we would do that to get the best outcome. You may also one day buy a business or sell a business, both of which, you might need an accountant or an advisor to help you with. Along with, we help clients with international tax laws if you're running an e-commerce business and shipping and producing and manufacturing things around the world. We live in, a time where that is absolutely possible. And alongside that comes some interesting tax laws. I think to summarize, an accountant is there for the pain points and for the goals as they come up along the whole journey. I think finding someone that you can talk to, that you trust, that you can ask questions of, like, without feeling like they're silly or small, that's the most important thing, because it can really make or break the outcomes that you're able to achieve. If you'd like to book a new client consult, this is completely free, obligation free as well. I will have the booking link in the show notes. I hope this helps, and let me know if you have any questions. Always more than happy to answer. I think I'll wrap it up there, and I will talk to you in the next episode, dropping every second Monday.